Hi everyone, my name's Ashley, and for my speech, the topics that I'm going to be covering is the importance of outdoor and unstructured learning time in a child's development. When I've finished speaking, I'm hoping that my audience will gain a deeper understanding of not only how a child's brain develops, but also feel motivated to speak out against educational movements such as No Child Left Behind and Teaching to Test, both topics which I will discuss further in my speech. Some of the main points that I'm going to be talking about are, for one, ADD and ADHD and the rise in America. The most recent statistics that I could find started in the rise from the year 2003 to 2013. In 2003, it was estimated that about 7.8% of children were diagnosed with ADD and ADHD, which is about 1 out of every 13 children. From 2003 to 2013, there is a 42% increase to about 11% of children, which is about 1 out of every 9. The total number in 2013 being about 6.4 million children diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. There are several potential causes, and there are many studies saying many different things. However, some of the potential causes of ADD and ADHD that I'm going to be talking about are, one, that as the years go on, there are simply more children that are tested, so it's possible that there were children before that did have one of those two things but were simply not diagnosed, or now that there are many children that have been diagnosed but perhaps wrongly diagnosed. Some of the other topics that I will cover along with causes for ADD or ADHD are children receiving too much stimulation from TV versus video games. So when they have other times when they need to focus, they can't because they're not getting all the stimulation that they're used to. Or possibly even not enough outdoor stimulation, which is one of the main points of my speech, in that children aren't getting the stimulation from being outdoors that they used to get. And having that, being able to release their energy that way, is causing them to not be able to focus as well in the classroom. Some of the other topics that I'm going to be covering are learning around the world and how the U.S. compares with other places. One of my main points that I will talk about is Finland, which in the last 10 years has consistently ranked the highest in their test scores with children. For instance, their graduation rate as of last year was 93%. Or high school graduation rate, which is 17.5% higher than the United States high school graduation rate. Yet somehow they still spend about 30% less per student than we do in America. Some of the reasons that I'll talk about in my speech are that they have no standardized testing. The first real test that these students get is not till they're in 6th grade. And the amount of outdoor time and playtime that they get. Most students in Finland at a young age get 15 minutes of play between every single lesson, which is much more than students in America get. And finally, to talk about my research, it has been going fairly well. There are lots of resources and studies that can be found. The problem is weeding through all of the studies that are not necessarily helpful or a little bit too old to be relevant anymore. Some of the sources that I've found are articles from the New York Times, which have many statistics, as well as links to other sources that are very helpful. I've gained some of my knowledge about ADD and ADHD from the CDC website, or the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. I've learned my statistics about Finland, primarily from the Smithsonian website, and also the book called Last Child in the Woods, which is one of my favorite books. It's a really good read if you are looking for something to read. It's by Richard Louv, and he also has a lot of great points about the rise in ADD and ADHD in our country. And that is what my speech is going to be about.